appreciate it. My name is Virginia Graciano. I am a virtual system engineer here in Cisco, within a global virtual engineering area. Here we provide a pre-sale support to all the global accounting, to another system engineers, and also to partners. I am focused on data center technology, mainly with UCS and Fabric portfolio. And today I am the responsible to give you the Unified Computing System presentation. Also, it is known like UCS. Okay, so this is the agenda. I am going to talk about Cisco data center strategy, also all the components which are part of our architecture, a little about the market share, and Cisco innovations. Here I am going to talk about the key differentiators against our competitors, and at the end a little summary. Okay, so let's get started with the data center strategy. I don't know if you have seen this slide in another data center talk or in another place, but this is a very important slide for us. Here we have what might be thought of as a hypothetical adoption curve. What this represents is the shift from the traditional data center run as they are today to a world which is dominated by cloud computer, either as a public or a private clouds. So when Cisco has started to sell the UCS architecture, it was in 2009, and here we are focused in the virtualization stage. But now in 2016, we are here in this edge between the traditional data center toward a cloud center environment, and now we are focused in a policy-driven automation, not only for our infrastructure, but also to our applications. Okay, and here we are looking for a simplicity and speed, and we are moving to cloud environments in the next 5 years. Okay, so as you can see here, we can put hybrid clouds because almost or a bigger amount of our customers will be using a combination between cloud and traditional data centers, because a little amount of our customers will be continue with a traditional data center, and also a little amount of our customers will be migrate all their data to a cloud center environment. So the best option is to have a combination in the different environments. So in the next 5 years, we can or we will be living hybrid cloud environments. Okay, so this is very important. Only in the next 5 years we will be living a huge growth in this type of environment versus the last 15 years that we have yes, we have a growth, but not a bigger growth like in the next 5 years. Okay, so Cisco, this is a transition in the market. Cisco is not creating this transition, but we are ready to support these technical transitions. Okay, and today I am going to talk about it. So the Cisco data center strategy to support this transition that we are living is focused in different components. The first, this is not obligatory that your customers can migrate to a cloud environment. Maybe they want to continue with a traditional data center, but it's necessary that your data center need to be modernized. You need to have an open and programmable infrastructure. And here you can integrate computing, storage, networking, virtualization, and management into a single platform within Cisco Unified Data Center. You can gain operational simplicity and business agility essential for best-in-class cloud computing and IT as a service. So you need to modernize your infrastructure, and it has to be open and programmable. Okay. The second is automate and simplify. As I said in a previous slide, it's important not only to automate our infrastructure, we need to automate also our applications, because now we are very focused in applications. So with this strategy, you can optimize your processes with an intelligent, automated approach to IT management. You can achieve faster deployment and enterprise-grade reliability, while simplifying the deployment and operation of physical and bare metal machines, virtual servers, and cloud infrastructure. So you can do it for all your entire network, and not only to the data center. So it's very important that you can achieve faster deployment. Maybe you can deploy some applications in a minute or in a day instead of months or years. That maybe this is a currently situation in our data centers. Okay. Also, if your customer wants to start in the cloud environment, so we have the solutions that your customer needs to build your his private cloud. Okay, the software and the hardware. And also, maybe you want to migrate some of your data or some of your application to a cloud or a public cloud environment. So also we are ready for that, and we are awareness that one of the big key issues with migrate to the cloud is the concern about the data. Okay, if I want to move my applications from one environment to another, I am concerned about the security, about the disruption, a lot of things that are involved in this type of activities. Also, I don't want to manage a lot of different interfaces. Okay, maybe I don't want to manage one interface for each of the cloud that I will be using, or one interface for my data center, one interface for my private cloud. So I don't want to be managing a lot of different interfaces. Also, I don't have a lot of people that have that knowledge to support the cloud and my data center. So a lot of issues and a lot of concerns that our customers have when they want to migrate to a hybrid environment. Okay, so we are awareness about it, and also an extend policy model. Okay, so that I can create a policy maybe in my data center, and if I want to migrate my application to a public cloud, maybe that I can migrate this application with its policies and all the things that I configured previously in my data center. So we are awareness about it, and also is part of our strategy. Then the other part, deploy edge with consistent policy and management as a data center. And here is not only for the edge, also can be used for remote branches or for a small data centers that you need to have your network and compute and storage in a cheaper solution, but with all the specifications that you need in this branch office or in this remote space. So here we have these options also. And then analytics. Okay, if you want to have a better knowledge about your entire network, we also have analytics to help you to do it, and not only for infrastructure, but also to the applications. Okay, and the last, the security, that we know that security is a very important feature for our customers. So we will provide this security. Doesn't matter if your customer is using a traditional data center or a private cloud or a public cloud, whatever, we will provide you this security. And then, well, I have been talking about this slide, this strategy, but now I am going to tell you some of our portfolio which is behind this strategy. Okay, so first, for an open and programmable infrastructure, we have our Nexus for the LAN, MDS for our SAN solutions, UCS. I'm going to talk about deeper about UCS in some minutes. The integration with a third-party storage vendor, and the security. Okay, also our security devices for our data centers. Second, automate and simplify. Here we have the UCS director to help you to create flows and to automate your processes, and ACI with the APIC that with ACI we can create the policies for physical and virtualized environments. And UCS Manager, also a software, in this software which we can configure and monitoring all our UCS components. Also, I am going to talk about deeper about UCS Manager in some minutes. Third, build your private cloud, all our Cisco One Enterprise Cloud. Okay, some more software in this part. Choose any other cloud, wherever you want. And here, point 5, 6, and 7, I put different solutions like Cisco Intercloud Fabric, Cisco Prime, ACI policy model. But also here is very important to tell you about Cisco Cloud Center, which it was known like Clicker, and Clicker was bought by Cisco in April. So now it's a very important solution for us. And with Cisco Cloud Center, we can have an only single management platform. Doesn't matter if you are using a traditional data center, public cloud, whatever. You don't need to have an expertise or a deeper knowledge about your public cloud or your private cloud. You can migrate your application from one environment to another without problems, without disruption. You can do benchmarking, so you can compare if it's cheaper for you to host your applications in one environment instead in the other environment. So a lot of interesting features for this connection with different environments, okay? And it doesn't matter also the type of application that you have in your different environments. So this is one of our newest acquisitions and a very important solution in our portfolio now, okay? Then the other, for the edge and for the remote branches, etc., we have UCS Mini, plus the integration with third-party storage vendor like the FlexPod that is composed by UCS Mini and NetApp device, versus stack with IBM, etc. So here we have a validated designs with third-party storage vendor to provide a cheaper and an excellent solution for a small offices or for a edge designs, okay? And the analytics also here, where we have different analytics. One of our newest analytics is the tetration, okay? That you can have a deeper knowledge about your network, not only in your infrastructure, but also in your applications. And the security, all our security solutions to provide end-to-end security in your entire network. Then, based on this strategy, we have a focus area. Three mainly points: network, compute, and cloud. Also, you can find this focus area like fabric for the network, compute, and management for cloud. Okay, so this is also like you can find this focus area. In network, we have different flavors. The first, ACI, is our top priority on the focus to capture the data center networking business. If that doesn't work, and can be the case by whatever reason, like multi-vendor requirement, then SDN via network virtualization is our second priority. Or as I say in a previous slide, if your customer doesn't want to migrate to a SDN or a cloud environment, then we have the traditional also solutions. Okay, so Cisco still provides the traditional architecture networks with the unified fabric, MDS for pure fiber channel networking and whatever. Okay, so we have the three flavors: the traditional data center for a SDN solution, and SDN when with cloud configurations. So the first focus area is network. The second is compute. UCS is one of them. Second, hyperconverged. Here is our HyperFlex solution. Okay, very important. And the storage part. Why storage is under compute and not a focus area by itself? Well, Cisco storage vision, strategy and differentiation was and has been fully predicated on the UCS compute platform. So this is very important that we provide to our customers this differentiator, and we provide this integrated storage architecture with Cisco UCS compute. So we need to provide this differentiator together. So this is the reason that we have the storage together with the UCS and under the UCS focus area. And then the cloud part. This slide is meant to portray the focus areas and not how they should interconnect, and are meant to be topologically positioned. So the three priorities under the cloud focus might be presented as a single approach to our customer, either as a solution or a service. So the network priorities otherwise are mutually exclusive between themselves. Okay. So this is our three focus area. In this presentation, I am going to talk about compute, and in another sessions, my partners are going to talk about the other focus area. So, well, the next part is the market share. Here is some information important for our customers to see our value. Okay, this information is from fiscal year 15, and in fiscal year 16, data center revenue was 801 million, achieving a 2100 growth rate year over year. Okay, also we have over 23,800 UCS customers, and this represents 300 year over year growth. Also, we now have over 20,800 repeat customers, which represents 34% year over year growth also. And different information about our growing in the last 7 years, because remember that I say in my first slide that Cisco has started to sell the Unified Computing System in 2009. No, so this is our results in this short period of time. And I want to show you this slide that, as you can see here, we have two different graphics. The first is focused in Americas, and the second in the worldwide. Okay, so also this is information from 2015. And in Americas, Cisco is the #1 vendor in the blade market, in the server blade market. And as you can see, Cisco has almost half of the overall market, okay, with the biggest difference with the second place, which is HP. So this is very important. And here we have a growing revenue of 48% year over year. And well, in worldwide, we don't have the first position, but we are very close with HP, which is the first position. And here we have almost 34% of the overall market. Okay, so this is here also we continue with a bigger growing revenue year over year. So this is very important that you know that Cisco is growing and has been growing in the last years, and we have only 7 years in the market. Okay, so this is a very important information that our customers have to know. And well, I'm going to start to talk about the different components and relationships. As I say, I talked about all the data center strategy, portfolio, but now I am going to be focused in the UCS or compute area. And here I have the different UCS component and the relationships. Okay, so first we have the UCS manager. Okay, this is our software which lives inside our fabric interconnects. It's very important. The UCS manager, you will manage all your UCS components in this single management platform. It is important. You don't need to have a specific license for this software. You don't need to have a virtual machine for this software, because this UCS manager lives in the fabric interconnect. Okay, so this is a very important part of our architecture. Then the UCS fabric interconnect is our top of rack switches. Each of these fabric interconnect has a unified ports. This means that you can connect LAN or SAN in this switch. The UCS manager resides here, and then we have our I/O module. Okay, the I/O module is these modules that connect or that permit to connect the fabric interconnect with the chassis. Okay, I am going to talk about deeper each of these components in some minutes. Also, we have a unique model for our chassis. This is our chassis that supports up to 8 half-slot servers and 4 slot server. Here we have the two different models, half and full blade server, and our mezzanine adapter. So all these components form a one UCS system. Okay, and UCS system can be composed by 160 servers. Doesn't matter if you have a rack or relay servers in your system, you can have this amount of server in one UCS system. Okay. Well, this is a traditional architecture. This is an overview of what we are going to talk about. I'm going to be talking about the overall unified computing system and what makes it different. So this is the traditional. This is a chassis rear view and a chassis front view. Okay, so the important thing is the most interesting part is the chassis rear view. Okay, here we have we need to have obligatory 2 fabric interconnects. Okay, you need to create your cluster, and it's obligatory to have 2 fabric interconnects. Here is our chassis, and this is our I/O modules or FEX connections, which are connected to our fabric interconnects. Okay, so you can have only 1 or 2 I/O modules. Okay, so this is a traditional architecture. If you are going to use a Blade server, it's obligatory to have a pair of fabric interconnects. Rack servers can be managed by itself, but also can be integrated with a fabric interconnect. Okay, so for Blade servers, it's obligatory. For rack servers, it's optional to have a pair of fabric interconnects. Okay. So this is our fabric interconnect. The fabric interconnects act as the central point of management for the UCS system. The fabric interconnect is one of the most important, if not the most important part of our architecture. It comes in 2 flavors. It can be the 48 port version like this, or also we have the 96 port version like this model. Okay, each comes with unified ports that provide for either fiber channel, Ethernet, or FCOE connectivity, and 20 chassis or 160 servers can be managed by 1 pair of fabric interconnect. Okay, so this is a very important feature in our architecture. Here we have our chassis. One thing I see often is a comparison between our chassis and that of our competitors. The focus really shouldn't be on how many servers a chassis can handle, but rather the overall architecture, since it is extremely scalable. So some vendors, their chassis support 16 servers. So this is not this shouldn't be our focus. One very important message that you have to transmit to your customers is that the intelligence is in the fabric interconnect, not in the chassis. Okay, so this is a very important message. As I say, this chassis supports up to 8 half slot blades, 4 full slot blades. Also, it supports 4 power supplies. We need at minimum 2 power supplies to support our chassis. 2 fabric extenders in the back of our chassis. And very important, all the components are hot pluggable. Okay, as I say, up to 20 chassis per UCS system. Okay, or if you are going to use rack and blade servers, an overall of 160 servers. Okay. Then we have our fabric extender. Also, they are known like I/O modules or FEX. Okay, so the FEX acts a remote line card for UCS Manager. For those of you are familiar with our spine leaf or Nexus 5K to K architecture, it is the same thing. There are generally two FEX in the back of each chassis, and what they allow us to do is use uplink the port on our fabric interconnect chassis in an efficient and scalable way. The FEX comes into versions, okay, either 2208 like this image. The 8 makes reference to 8 ports. Each of them support 10 giga, and the other model is the 2204. This model supports 4 ports, each of them for 10 giga. Okay, so if you have two I/O modules for this model 2208, you can have an overall of 16 ports. So your bandwidth for this chassis can be to 160 gigas for this bandwidth. So each server can have 20 giga. Okay, this is the bigger amount of bandwidth that you can have with this I/O module. Okay, so it's also very important. I think that it's a huge bandwidth with a few ports and with few cables. Okay, so this is also very important. In some minutes, I am going to talk about new models for these specs. This year or some months ago, we launched different new models. Okay, the first we launched 2 different fabric interconnects model and 1 FEX model. Okay, the first model supports all the ports, supports 40 giga Ethernet. Okay, and you can provide Ethernet and fiber channel over Ethernet in these ports. Okay, the second model we have a combination between the previous fabric interconnect with the older models. Why? Because we have 40 ports that support 40 giga and 16 unified ports. So in these unified ports, each of them support 10 giga and also support pure fiber channel, Ethernet, and FCOE. And the other ports only support Ethernet and FCOE. Okay, so this is also very important if your customers want to have more bandwidth. So we can use these new models. And if you want to use this type of fabric interconnect, we need to have the same type of port in our FEX. So the ION module 2304 also was launched some months ago. So here we have only 4 ports, which each of them supports 40 giga. Okay, so if you want to use 40 giga, you need to use this IO module with one of these fabric interconnect modules. Okay, so this is also a very important devices that were launched some months ago. And well, the next part is the UCS compute portfolio. Here we have the different servers, which they are part of the UCS portfolio. And it's important that you know that Cisco has one right solution for each necessity. Okay, so sometimes we don't know if our customer have a specific necessity. I don't know what type of server I need to use. Okay, so it is important that we understand the different options for our customer. For example, here we have rack and laser servers. And for example, here the 3000 model is used for media streaming, for storage server, for Microsoft Exchange. So as you can see, it's a bigger server. It can support a lot of storage, and also it is used for SDS, that it's now like software-defined storage. So here we can integration with another third-party storage vendors, okay, like StoreMagic or vSAN or whatever, to support this software-defined storage solution. Okay, so also it could be used for a cloud environment. So this is a very robust server that it's focused for a storage solutions, media streaming, wherever. Okay. Then we have the other rack servers, the 240. This server is designed for a wide range of enterprise workloads, including virtualization, big data, and bare metal applications. Also, as I said, it can be standalone or UCS managed operations. Also, it provides enterprise-level capabilities and features. Supports up to 2 double-wide GPUs, and it has a flexible storage. Depends of the necessities. It supports up to 24 drives or 12 drives. Okay. So this is also a very important server. The next is very similar, but with a less capacities. The C220, it was designed for a wide range also of enterprise workloads, including virtualization and bare metal applications. Okay, it could be managed with the UCS manager, or it could be used standalone. It provides enterprise level capabilities and features, and also it has a different capacity for the drives. Supports up to 8 small drives or 4 large drives. Okay, so these two servers are similar, but with differences in the amount of the things that each of them supports. Okay, the next is a blade server, the B200, and it was designed for a wide range of enterprise workloads also, including virtualization and bare metal applications. It provides enterprise level capabilities and features. And well, here, like it is a blade server, it has a controller and cache for the storage option. Also, it can be used for a VDI or a private cloud. It's also very useful. Okay. Then we have our HyperFlex, which are based in these two models. Okay. The difference with it is our unique hyperconverged solution. Okay. Maybe our servers can be used for a software-defined storage like the other servers, but here we put our hardware and we integrate with another software vendors, okay, to provide this software-defined storage. But here in the HyperFlex is all is provided by Cisco, okay. The compute, the networking, the storage are provided by Cisco, and it's obligatory to have a pair of fabric interconnect. It depends of the amount of storage that your customer needs to have, that you need to use 240 or 220 options. Okay, so this is our unique hyperconverged solution, and all this is also one of our focus solution in this fiscal year. Okay. Then also we have servers for mission critical. Okay, you know that there are some applications that need to have or that need to accomplish with a specific requirements. Like the best example is SAP HANA. So we have a servers for mission critical. In this case, this 460 server is a certified server for SAP HANA solutions. Okay, so also if you have a SAP HANA project, you can use our servers because they are certified by SAP to use his application. Okay, also we have the Blade server version to support this type of application or another mission critical application that can be supported for this type of server. Okay, so this is a summary about the different compute portfolio and the mainly function of each of them of our solution. Okay, so this is very important that you understand the use of each of them. Then also another very important component is our BIC. A BIC is one of the Cisco's innovation that make UCS a little different because addressing is one of the most serious virtualization problems. So a server has a finite amount of addresses, and if we have more virtual machines that allowable addresses, then that's our problem right there. Okay, the amount of addresses. So what the BIC allows us to do is create up to 1,024 interfaces, which is more than enough interfaces to allow us to do what we want. Okay, we can curve it up so that if we can dynamically create interfaces for our needs. So when we first came out with the BIC, this concept was new. So this really shows customers that UCS really was built from the ground up to be virtualized, because virtualization is even built into the hardware. So there are also significant cost savings also with the BIC, because you no longer have to buy multiple adapters. Okay, so this is also very important feature in our solution. And then a little summary of our UCS server architecture. This is a complete architecture. It's very simply, we have our pair of fabric interconnect, and we have different chassis with two I/O model each of them. And well, we have our LAN, our SAN, and some fiber channel storage. Okay, so here first, well, in this chassis I have only 2 links. Okay, each of them support 10 giga. So my chassis can support 20 giga overall with only these 2 connections. The other chassis has 4 links, so my bandwidth can be 20 giga. The other with 8 links, the bandwidth can be 80 giga. And the bigger amount of bandwidth that I can have with all my links in the 2 fabric interconnects, it's 160 giga. Okay, with this model. And this fabric interconnect, it was or it is 62 and 96 model. Okay, so each of them provide us 96 ports. And as I said, each of these ports support LAN or SAN, so I can do the connection to my LAN, to my SAN, or I can have a direct attach to my SAN solution. So maybe you don't need to add an SAN switch, or you don't need to add another components to support this SAN part or the LAN part. So it is very useful also for your customers. Maybe you can decrease your amount of OPEX and CAPEX that your customer invest in their environment. Okay. So this could be UCS server architecture for your customer. It depends in the necessities. Okay, and well, this is all the components, but now I am going to talk about the differentiators. Well, first, a previous slide. This is a UCS Mini. The difference between UCS is this solution, and UCS Mini is a little solution based on the UCS. Why? Because we eliminate one component. These components are the fabric interconnect. So we eliminate the fabric extender. The disconnection between the fabric extender and the fabric interconnect is done inside the chassis. Okay, we cannot see this connection, but it exists inside the chassis. And we have the fabric interconnect here that now will be inserting in the I/O modules part. Okay, so here we have 4 ports. Each of them supports 10 giga and 140 giga. Okay, and here also you, with the 40 ports, you can connect your rack servers. So with UCS Mini, you can manage your rack servers, and with only one chassis, you can manage up to 16 servers. Okay, between a combination with blade and rack servers. So maybe for the customers that has maybe one customer has a little data center, and maybe this solution can be very expensive for him. So the best idea can be a UCS Mini. Okay. So UCS innovation. Here I am going to talk about mainly the key differentiators of our solution against our competitors. So the first is the unified port. Well, it's important to understand that we have different differentiators. Okay, first, the management aspect. So UCS has allowed our customers to have more centralized points of management. Before, UCS management was inconsistent. So in the previous model, there were many disparate devices connecting directly to the chassis, which added complexity. And this complexity made troubleshooting a lot more difficult, and the benefits were gained from adding more compute nodes were almost eradicated by the time wasted trying to resolve problems within our new highlight scale compute infrastructure. So another important piece is the consolidation. When we first invented UCS, we changed the way that data centers were designed in the first place. A lot of the other players in the market designed their systems based of the traditional architecture. okay? And this architecture added many unnecessary components, which exponentially increased the complexity of data centers. And the last piece is the virtualization. Now, well, Cisco didn't invent the virtualization, but what we did do was use all his full advantage. As a company, since we entered in the server market around the time that virtualization was becoming more of the norm, we were able to create a server platform that was able to overcome and alleviate the challenges virtualized server environment possesses. Okay, so it was our differentiators at the beginning, and now we continue with this same basis, but with another component. One of them is the unified pores. Okay, so now for the unified pores, early I alluded to the fact that the fabric interconnects is one of the most important pieces of the entire system. So one of the reasons being that the fabric interconnect has unified ports, okay? In a typical data center environment, we have devices for LAN and SAN connectivity. And with our unified ports, they can act as connectivity for SAN and LAN environments because they can connect Ethernet, FCOE, or FC devices. And this helps us lower the amount of external devices that are needed. So here, for example, also, if you want to, the LAN and SAN connection is done in the fabric interconnect and not in the chassis, because the other vendors have these connections to LAN or to SAN in the chassis. Okay, so also for this reason, they need to use a lot of cables, a lot of different external devices to provide the SAN and the LAN connection to their chassis. Okay, but with UCS, we provide this connection in the fabric interconnect, not in the chassis. Okay, so we eliminate the amount of cables with our unified ports. Okay, so we can provide a bigger amount of bandwidth with a less amount of cables. Okay, so this is the other vendors, and this is the solution with a UCS solution. Here in this slide, the existence of the unified ports on the fabric interconnect is critical to UCS because converge is done at the management node instead of the chassis. So as you can see here, the old way of doing things looks something like this slide. Okay, so what you see is a converge used to be done at the chassis, as I say in my previous slide. So whenever you add a new chassis, the cabling increases dramatically. Okay, so you add a new chassis, and you need to cable for the SAN, for your LAN, for your management, and for each chassis. So in this example alone, if you add one more chassis, you are looking at adding at least 6 connections, and when HF fees can be hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, the total cost of ownership can increase exponentially. Okay, so this is only with 5 chassis, we have a mess of cables. Okay, so with our chassis, well, this is the example. Okay, 36 I/O modules with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 external devices to provide LAN, SAN, and management. And here is our solution. Okay, What we have done with UCS is move the converge to a single point, okay? And when you decide to cable a new chassis into the system, the cabling is based primarily on how much bandwidth you want to add rather than the connectivity. Okay, it depends on the bandwidth and not the connectivity. So this pair of fabric interconnect will provide us the management, the LAN, and the SAN networks connections. And as I said, this pair of fabric interconnect will can manage 20 chassis or an overall of 160 servers. Okay, so the problem cannot be that you add a new chassis, okay, because you will continue with this design without problem, without add a lot of cables and a lot of mess in your data center. Okay, so this is with our solution with or thank you to the unified ports. Okay, and this is a real picture of our chassis. This is the I/O modules. In this case, this I/O module is the 2204 model, and with the overall connections, we are providing 80 giga for the chassis, and you can see the amount of cables that you are using for provide this amount of bandwidth. Okay, so this is a real picture of our solution. Then another differentiator is our management, or the UCS manager. Okay, we are now going to talk about the fabric interconnect and some of its software characteristics. And the UCS manager is the software component of the UCS system. When you first hook up the UCS manager, the software will go ahead and inventory everything. Okay, so with the UCS manager, we have a single point of manager for all the UCS system components, like adapters, blades, chassis, fabric extender, the fabric interconnects, embedded device manager, embedded inside each fabric interconnect and included in the system. You can discovery, inventory, you can do the configurations, monitoring, diagnostics, you can collect the statics, you can coordinate deployment to manage endpoints. Okay, so you can do configuration and management for all your UCS components. Okay, so this is very important, and you don't need to add with commands or whatever this repository. Okay, when you do the connection, the physical connections, and then you turn on your chassis, your server, these components are started to be showing in the interface. Okay, so this is very important. You don't need to add each component to be aware about it. Also, the most recently version supports HTML5. Okay, to avoid these Java problems to see the interface. So also this is one of our improvements with the UCS manager. And with the UCS, you can incorporate also our rack servers. So you can have a combination between blade and rack servers. For instance, if you start a little smaller, maybe get a couple rack mounts, then business is humming and you want to order a full chassis, well, you can still manage all of these are all in one. Okay, so you don't need to have a new UCS system. And well, the other differentiator, and I think that one of our one of the most important differentiator, and this feature doesn't have another vendor. Okay, this is a unique feature in the UCS systems. Okay, it's very important. This is a concept that you can see only with the UCS system. Okay, and it's the service profile. So the service profile, the best way to understand this concept is the SIM card, okay? The identity for a phone. So maybe you have different phones, but you need to have your SIM card to, if you want to have, or if you want to receive calls, messages, whatever. So imagine that your cell phone failed, your cell phone doesn't want to turn on, I don't know. So you can remove your SIM card and you can install in another cell phone, okay? And you will continue with your number. You can receive again calls, messages. So your identity is in the SIM card, not in the cell phone, okay? So the same idea is with the servers. When you buy a UCS or a server from Cisco, for example, this server, it is like a white box, okay? Because you need to install a service profile in this server if you want to use it, okay? So the service profile is an abstraction of the hardware addressing from the physical hardware, and we have virtualized it, okay? So every server that is provisioned in the Cisco Unified Computing System is specified by a service profile. So a service profile is a software definition of a server and its LAN and its SAN characteristics. And in other words, a service profile defines a single server and its storage and networking characteristics. Okay, the service profiles are stored in the Fabric interconnects. So when a service profile is deployed to a server, the UCS manager automatically configures the servers, adapter, Fabric extender, and Fabric interconnects to match the configuration specified in the service profile. Okay, so this automation of device configuration reduces the number of manual steps required to configure servers, NICs, HVAs, and the LAN and SAN switches. We can also create templates and pools so that our service profile are replicable. So we can create a template that pulls from a pool of MAC addresses, IP addresses, etc. What this also allows you to do is, before you actually receive a physical piece of hardware, you can do some pre-staging where you can test some things out to make sure things work the way you want. Or if your server fails, well, the service profile can move itself over to the next available server. So one thing I get often is what is the difference between this and vMotion. So, well, when you vMotion something, do all of the BIOS settings and addressing move over also. Well, that's where the power in service profiles is. Also, there are certain applications like some Oracle ones where there is a primary license and failover one. So, and if the server fails that is currently holding the primary license, then you have 10 days to get that server back before Oracle starts charging you for the use of their failover license. Okay, so you can avoid this type of extra cost. Okay, so maybe you have 2 servers, or you are using 2 servers, and you have 2 available servers for if one of them can fail. The server profile automatically moves itself to one of these available servers. Okay, so this is one of our biggest differentiator. Okay, and as I say, there isn't exist another vendor with this type of characteristic. Okay, the service profile. Okay, so this is a very important differentiator against our customers. And well, I think that to close the presentation, a little summary. So well, I talked about the transition in the market, and you know now all the strategy, the Cisco strategy to meet the next customer challenges. Also, the main differentiators of our solution, like the unified ports, simplified cabling, the service profile. Okay, the broad portfolio that can meet the different customers' needs, all the different blade and rack servers, and the most important thing, we have started 7 years. Well, we have started in 2009, so we have only 7 years in the market, and now we are leaders in this industry. Okay, so this is a very important message for you, and to share with your customers, with your partners, or whatever. Okay, so well, I think that it's all for my part. Rich.
Yeah, thank you very much, Virginia. Thanks, everybody, for staying on. The presentation will be posted to the data center community sites, which I've referenced in the chat a couple times. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Go ahead and post them in the chat. Otherwise, thanks again for your time. Have a great day.